Folks, it is official. We have chaos in the markets, just like that. In a snap of a fingers, one moment everything's fine, next moment you have absolute chaos in the markets. And I'll be honest, it's been a little sleepy in the markets, hasn't been a lot of drama for a few months here. It's kind of like, what's going on? Like, everybody's waiting on something to happen, and my gosh, do we have stuff happening now. Dominoes are falling all over the place. Boy, do we have a lot to get into. I appreciate everybody joining me. Thank you for being subscribed. Man, do we have some stuff to get into in this one. You want to see the most shocking chart you might have ever seen in your life? Check this baby out, okay? Check this out. This is downright scary. This is a regional banking ETF. I just added this baby to the watch list, right? Look at that. I mean, that's one of the scariest charts I've ever seen in just terms of just falling off a cliff for an ETF. And you got to ask yourself, is this the something breaking? Because what's been said out there is the Fed's going to keep raising rates until something breaks. Okay, and that's been the thought process, right? They're going to keep raising until something breaks. And you got to look at a situation like this and look what's happening with the regional banks, right? And the Silicon Valley Bank, and ask yourself, are we at the precipice of this being the stage of something breaking that the Fed looks at and they're like, oh crap, we broke some stuff. That's what you got to start wondering, okay? And we'll see how all this shakes out. But I mean, based upon kind of what I'm seeing, the second biggest bank failure, you know, basically in the past several decades, if not ever in the United States of America, looking at this, it looks to me like some stuff is starting to break here now at this point in time, right? This one. In 2018, President Trump signed a bill that rolled back Dodd-Frank regulations on banks like Silicon Valley Bank. Prior to the bill, the threshold for which banks were required to submit resolution plans for their rapid and orderly resolution to the FDIC was set at $50 billion and higher. This was to ensure the failure would not have serious adverse effects on the financial stability of the United States. Trump and congressional Republicans raised this threshold to $250 billion. Silicon Valley Bank appears to have $175 billion to $210 billion in consolidated assets, meaning they likely excluded from some of the Dodd-Frank regulations. It seems likely this could have been avoided if it weren't for the rollbacks by the Trump administration, okay? Now, I'll say this, okay? About this whole situation, right? Because it even gets into politics and obviously things that were done there, okay? And as somebody that's not a Republican or a Democrat, I see the good and I see the bad with both parties, okay? And with the Republican side and with the Trump side and kind of what Trump was doing there, I think a lot of his rollbacks on different regulations, I think a lot of it was good. I'll be completely honest. The one thing you don't roll back on, and for all my Republican friends watching this right now, make sure you get this through your politicians' ears forever, okay? Never, ever give the banks an inch, okay? That's not the industry you ever touch in relation to like hoping, like, you know, let's roll back some regulations here. Not in the banking system. These folks have proven time and time and time again they can't be trusted, okay? There's a lot of industries you can roll back some regulations on, and there's a lot of regulations that get pushed way too much and way too far on many industries, and it hurts growth, right? But I'm telling you, with the banks, you don't roll back any regulations on those, and you watch them like a hawk. It's way better to over-regulate them than under-regulate the banks, because I'm telling you, those are like letting a serial killer out of prison, okay, who's like killed like 20 people, okay? You don't do that. And I'm telling you, don't do that. And so all my Republicans that are watching this video right now, make sure politicians understand, don't ever touch, it's fine for a lot of other industries, but don't ever touch the banks in relation to loosening up. Let's loosen up the strings in the banks. No, never do that, okay? I'm just telling you, it always ends badly. It's just a question of how many years down the road is it going to end badly. They've proven it time and time again. They can't control themselves. They can't police themselves. And when that happens, you know, you just can't give them an inch. You give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. Believe that, and it will cause huge problems. And that's exactly what we see playing out in this situation, okay? SVB was just featured as, guess what? Forbes 2023 list of America's best banks. It was just featured as Forbes America's best banks. Isn't that incredible, right? Moody's had an A rating on the bank. So grandma, who put $5,000 in SVB stock, she loses all her investment, even though she only has a net worth of, you know, $100,000. But yet the tech founder, who's worth $700 million and had $10 million with SVB Bank, he gets all his money back. That's what we call making up special rules for whatever people we want to make up special rules for as we go along. And you wonder, and the government sometimes, they wonder why people get frustrated. They wonder why people get mad. It's because the government just, picks the winners and losers. And they say, you all over here, you're going to be the losers, but these people are the winners, right? And yet, they won't bail out other things, right? A lot of us that had money in different other companies, right? Voyager, where's our bailout? Oh, we don't get a bailout. We're not important enough, right? Oh, that's because it's this. They always make up an excuse. Oh, you don't get a bailout over here, but these people over here get a bailout. There's always an excuse. They make up the rules as they want to go. We'll save this one, but we'll let this out. They did the same exact thing, by the way, in the Great Financial Crisis. There's some institutions the government let fail, while other institutions got saved and got bailed out. And it's like, wait, why did this one have to fail and then this one over here get saved? Isn't that interesting, right? It's what we call picking the winners and losers. And ultimately, it's a huge frustration of the American public because they see this go on. The rules aren't clear of this game. And then the government comes in and they help whoever they want to help out. And other people are left standing there saying, where's my help? I lost money in this, or this didn't work out for me. How come I didn't get help, but then these people over here get help? If anything, they don't need help, right? So Roku had $487 million with the bank. That's $487 million, right? That was only 26% of their cash. But yet some person who, owned the stock or did this or that, who has a net worth of $10,000, they don't get helped. Isn't that interesting? It's what we call picking the winners and losers. And it's very frustrating when they just change the rules like that, right? And they say, oh, you know what? This wasn't the rule, but we're going to change it for these people, but we're not going to change it for these. It causes a lot of frustration, right? Now, in regards to stocks, right? And if you're looking at like big tech stocks and whatnot, don't be surprised if over the next, I would say several weeks, if not several months, the more growth names outperform significantly the value names in the market now at this point in time, right? Now that the Fed's been shown to just, they're a chihuahua in the situation, don't be surprised at all, right? Wall Street's going to try to make it not look too obvious. They're going to try not to rocket these stocks too quickly, but just watch the move over time here, essentially, right? And don't be surprised at all if growth way overdoes value, right?